Hello, tile friends. Welcome back to another episode of Tile Money, the podcast where we discuss the business of being a tile contractor. My name is Luke Miller, a tile contractor myself in the beautiful state of California. I'm doing some traveling right now. As you know, I'm in the state of Oregon. I want to thank my sponsors. Thank you, Laticrete, for being a sponsor of Tile Money this episode. And thank you, NTCA, for sponsoring Tile Money and making this possible. I'm sitting down right now at a beautiful brewery in Oregon. It's about 4 o'clock. It's beer 30, as we say, at Ecliptic Brewing Company here in Portland. And I'm with Jeff, and he has a business named Columbia River Tile and Stone. And we're going to get to know his business a little bit and his background. Jeff, how are you doing? Let us know a little bit about what kind of fun stuff you like to get up to here in Portland.
Well, I'm a big movie goer. Music goer. I like to go out and see concerts. We've seen a few already this summer. Spare time, I will typically have got a drum kit and things like that, so I'll wail away on things like that. But we've got a nice little property out here too, so we like to garden and do different things just to relieve the stresses from the daily grind of running a tile business.
Yeah. The traffic here in Portland is horrendous. That must be stressful. You work right in the city limits?
Yes, that's right. And if you definitely have to find different ways to deal with the traffic. We're able to start our jobs at 7:30, so getting to each job's not too bad. Definitely, our typical day is 7:30 to 4:30. So coming home. Same thing with music. I'll go through phases. Sometimes most of the time I'm listening to CDs in the van. At work, we have an iPod going, different things. Definitely nothing commercial wise, which is pretty good. But audiobooks were a really cool thing to see recently. So went through a couple really cool audiobooks, and a lot of them I actually heard about on Tile Money. The E-Myth. Yeah. So really enjoyed that. And yeah, looking forward to doing more audiobooks. So.
Oh, good stuff. Yeah, I'm really into the audiobooks myself. I go back and forth between podcasts and audiobooks. Tell us a little bit about your company. What do you specialize in? What does it look like? How many employees? What is your main role?
Sure. So I'm a owner and also one of the lead tile setters. And so there's 6 of us, me, 4 other tile guys in the field, and my wife's in the office part-time, basically answering phones and scheduling visits for me to go out and look at jobs. We specialize in higher-end residential work, although I've worked commercial work and different aspects like that. The nice thing with being in the boom economy right now, we get to choose what we want to do. So we're just doing the backsplashes and tons of backsplashes, tons of showers. And recently it's been a ton of floors. But yeah, life's good right now in this economy. So
where do you find your work for those employees and yourself?
So about 60% of our jobs are through general contractors. The other 40% are our own jobs. So our own jobs are primarily word of mouth, referrals, and people finding us online. We've got a very strong online presence that we don't pay a dime for. I've grinded it out. I jokingly say quite a bit, if I wasn't in tile, I'd be a great SEO guy.
Tell us a little bit about that. What are you doing?
So it's really not that hard for us to be where we're at. It's the unfortunate thing with contractors is a lot of them don't really see the value in that, and they're not really have a Google page set up and different things like that. We're trying to do the best things. When I initially started our first website, I was fortunate to have been working in the last boom before the last recession and working on the road. And I decided when it wasn't good to be on the road anymore, that I was going to start grinding it out locally, that I set the goal that, anything I did wasn't going to hint at amateurism in the slightest bit. So I dropped $10,000 on website, van logos, all that stuff is a whole package. And I don't regret it at all. It is money well spent. 10 years later, the website, even though it was top of the line, was very dated then. Fortunate now, my wife's a graphic artist. So we've recently just updated our new website. And, we're just always doing what we need to do. The biggest thing I could say, though, if you want to bring in work through online presence, it's reviews. When we close out a job, we have the mindset through the entire job that the goal is to get a good review. So everything we do is focused on, if you go at a job that you're looking for a good review, everything you do is going to exceed people's expectations. And that's what we're trying to do, exceed everybody's expectations. Sometimes it doesn't work out, sometimes it does. But I do send out an email with links to different reviews we want, be it Google, Yelp, Angie's List, whatever we see where we need some reviews, that they have the option. And I usually word it, we're looking for the Google reviews. That's where we want to be on Google. So on Google, I believe it's maybe 27.
Okay.
If you look at every spectrum. So hate to say it, but when we were starting out, we were on Home Advisor. And if you include all of our online reviews, there's probably 150. And it's, you don't get there overnight. I was telling one of my employees today, like, he was banging out a bucket. I don't clean buckets at the end of the day. So I show them how to bang out a bucket. And this is something I heard, maybe guerrilla marketing, Levinson, about the old stonemason when he's trying to break a rock. It's not one whale on the rack that's going to break it. It's many small, thousands of small little whacks at it until you get it. That's like anything else. What we're trying to do, is you're always working on that goal. In small steps and small little hits on that stone until you get it.
I love that attitude. That's a really great analogy.
Yeah.
It sounds like you've done a great job marketing yourself and putting in the work. And sitting in front of you here, you've got a logo on your T-shirt. I see your van. It's got a nice, clear logo. It's very clear what you do. It's very clear who you are. That's great. And you spent the money. It was a big investment, 10 grand, but it's paid off. You said you would do it again.
Absolutely.
And what you were saying about the reviews, trying to get a review for every job, reminds me of what Ben Santos from Georgia was saying recently. He said, if you don't get a review and you don't get pictures, the job might as well not have happened. And it sounds like that's pretty much your attitude. I mean, it's everything happens online as far as people researching. Now, you mentioned you have 60-40, 60% contractors, 40% homeowners. Are you pretty comfortable with those numbers? Are you looking to switch that up? What's your thoughts on that?
We're extremely happy with that number. It's a nice balance. Sometimes, the downsides of working too much with a general contractor, you're passing up on all the people calling you. You're just, you can't handle the workload if you don't want to get bigger, and you're not getting the reviews online. So that's a downside. Obviously having more general contractors, we don't go and look at those jobs. They send us plans and we bid it. And, everything's a well-oiled machine we're fortunate with the general contractors we work with. We've been doing this for a long time. We know, the different aspects of each job with each general contractor. So, that's the plus side. It's, there's a lot less legwork in getting a job. It's there, they're your jobs as long as you don't mess it up.
Yeah, I do like that aspect about general contractors, and that's a great reason to be, to have some customers that are general contractors. You stay busy, and in these boom years, they're building houses, and you usually get 2 to 3 to 4 showers, or whatever the case may be, depending on your region. In California, it was like 2 showers and a bathroom, a washroom. But out here, maybe they're building a little bigger homes. I don't know. But I know in Texas and stuff, you might have several thousand feet and some showers. So that's great. But the homeowners is really, in my opinion, the backbone of a business. Because even during a recession, the homeowners, a lot of them will still remodel homes. Builders, they're not going to be selling new construction homes. At least, the last recession, that's the way it was. And in most recessions, that's what I remember. Now, you've been through the last recession. You stayed alive. You stayed afloat. What are your thoughts on, we were talking a little bit about this. What are your thoughts on staying afloat during a recession, getting prepared, et cetera? Can you enlighten us there?
Yeah, so great topic because it seems to be pretty current. A lot of people think we're already in one. Some people think, maybe it's the U.S. economy isn't going to happen. Some people think where we're at in Portland, we're not going to be affected. But regardless, it's good practice to be prepared. There is a top-notch guy who's local up here called Michael Stone, and we went to his class last year. And just a quick thing, if you guys don't know Michael Stone, he's getting up there in age. He does travel around the country doing a 2-day class. Currently, this year is the first year if you go to his website, he's only doing one class. So this could sort of some of your last chances to see Michael Stone.
That's the profit of markup and profit.
Markup and profit. That's right. And so the 2-day class, the only 2-day class he has scheduled this year is in Portland. I believe it's in October.
Wow.
And so Markup and Profit, great book. Everybody should have that. He's got in the world of audiobooks as well. He does have his 10 CDs you could buy for $100. But, if you're old school and you have a tape deck, Michael Stone really bought a lot of tapes when that was big. And you could actually get 10 tapes for $10 from his website. That's what I have. And, I listen to it on a Walkman. And money well spent. $10 for 10 plus hours of Michael Stone telling you how it is, because it really is how it is. And
do you remember how much you paid for his 2-day class?
Yeah, it's like $4.95.
And you think it was a good investment?
Hands down.
You'll be going again this year?
It's the same topic. When I seen it earlier this week, I did entertain going again, but I don't know if I will actually.
Food for thought.
It really is. So to go back on the recession and being prepared, and it pretty much comes down to having a plan in place. Working capital reserve is the term, and that's basically having money in savings. So why that's so crucial when the shit does go down or it hits the fan and you have employees or you have different bills to pay and there's no more money to pay those bills, there's nothing else to do. If you have some cushion to keep payroll going, maybe pick and choose slightly what jobs you're going to take, it could make all the difference of weathering the storm. The last recession was a bad one. Maybe one's not coming. Maybe it is. Maybe it's going to be worse. But it's good to be prepared. I've seen some good topics on tile money. Maybe instead of buying the boat, maybe putting away $20,000 and having it saved for those rainy days. Getting out of debt. We've been fortunate. We've been debt free for a long, long time, and probably will never be in debt. We listen to a lot of, people probably know Dave Ramsey. He'd probably call me a freak because we've been debt free, but we use credit cards and different things like that. We live within our means is sort of the biggest thing you could take from somebody like Dave Ramsey. If you're living outside your means, it's going to catch up to you. If the recession hits and you're not able to run a lean business, it could, unfortunately, the results might not be what you anticipate.
Yeah. I really like all the savings and getting out of debt. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. What other types of everyday business advice, really actionable advice, something that I could put into business or put into practice tomorrow for my business, would you suggest that's Because thinking back to what we talked about with the builders and the homeowners, what kinds of things do you do for your business to make sure that, hopefully your phone keeps ringing? I mean, I guess we covered some of them. Do you have any more input on that?
Hard work and being efficient.
Yeah. And I guess too, for me, what it sounds like is you have, what did you say, over 150 reviews in total online on the internet. And so if a recession were to come, I mean, we can speculate and say that, homeowners there's going to be less people remodeling, but the ones who are remodeling are going to be much more choosier, and because they have money. And typically those people are more choosy, even in these days, 2019. Typically those are the customers we really want because they're doing the research. They're not, it means more to them when they spend money. It means more to them, and maybe that's the time they wait to make a purchase because they know they can get you 10%, 15% cheaper. I don't know, but they still want the best tile contractor. So I guess I'm thinking about stuff like that. So Jeff, looking forward to your business, what are you looking forward to? Are you trying to grow, expand?
Well, I'm still out in the field installing tile every single day.
Yeah.
So the obvious goal is not to do that.
Yeah.
I don't feel burnt out that much, but there are the occasions where it does get to me. But the ultimate goal is definitely just to move forward with just running the business, not being in the field as much. And
Tell us, how are you going to do that?
so we've tried bringing in tile setters, and a lot of times it hasn't worked out. We've been growing our business with a lot of young kids and teaching them the trade. One of our tile setters, Alex Nez, is CTI. Typically we're training people to be CTI. So they want 2 years experience of tile setting experience before you take the CTI tests. I sponsored Alex to take it after setting tile for 6 months, and he crushed it. That's what we're doing. We're teaching the young kids to be the next wave of tile setters. And that's our plan for growing, just continuing to teach that next wave. Sometimes teach them and they move on. Sometimes we're going to teach them and they're going to stick with us. But that's our goal.
So investing in your people and training them up right, getting them fired up. I was talking to Dirk Sullivan, and he said it was about that 5 or 6 employee mark where he actually had to step out of the tile installation. So it sounds like you're pretty much at that threshold. Would you say that's true?
It is. And, it's really awesome being out here and knowing people like Dirk Sullivan, knowing people like Eric Trexel, who's got a bigger business than us, and just all the different really great tile setters where we're at. They're sort of give me sort of the direction. I see what they're doing with the bigger companies than us. It's great having that tile community. And the really nice thing, Eric Trexel, Dirk Sullivan, Robert Davis, and a few other tile contractors, we're all part of that cutting edge apprenticeship program out here, which is really awesome. Just teaching the young kids.
That's really cool. Yeah, that helps a lot. Looking back over the years, what is one thing that you wish, maybe if you had a time machine, you could go back and tell yourself to do something different in all the years you've been a tile contractor?
That's a good one. I would say, yeah. So like so many other tile contractors who, were pretty much hacks for 10 years living out on that island, 15 years. I was taught a certain way. Some of it was good, some of it wasn't. I didn't know any better. That's the way I went for a long, long time. So I guess, those installations, maybe they're still holding up, but some of them maybe I feel a little guilty about now that I know the right way to do it. So I guess if I could go back, I guess just getting educated earlier on in my tile career.
Yeah. Where'd you find the education?
So definitely John Bridge and Facebook groups and TCA.
It's TCA.
Game changers.
Yeah, definitely. I think we all have those stories. More and more, it seems like this next generation, they're teaching themselves, or maybe they did learn from somebody, but it was kind of out on their own, kind of on an island, like you said. Yeah. So, yeah. Well, I really appreciate you, Jeff. I know my audience is going to benefit from this episode. So thank you for taking the time out of your business, and I'm looking forward to getting to know you better.
Absolutely. And I just want to say, Luke, I think me as well as so many other people, it's a really awesome thing that you're doing. I know far and away, as far as Facebook groups go, this is hands down my favorite. And I know that goes for a lot of people. It was a niche that was well needed. So I'm glad you're stepping up and doing what you're doing.
All right, Tile friends, I hope you enjoyed that interview with Jeff Occhipinti as much as I enjoyed getting to know him and having a beer with him. Thank you, Jeff, for taking time out of your schedule. If you want to follow Jeff's work, check him out on Instagram at Columbia River Tile and Stone. Once again, Jeff is on Instagram at Columbia River Tile and Stone. Now, that was a great interview with a lot of information packed into that short episode. A couple of great quotes that I really liked from that episode are, "We're teaching the young kids to be the next wave of tile setters." Jeff talked about how he's putting his apprentices through the CTI program. And of course, he hopes they stick with him, but he understands if they go on, at least they'll take that knowledge with them and be set up to succeed. So thank you for doing that, Jeff. Thank you for having that attitude. I really hope that resonates with my audience. Another great quote I really enjoyed was, "If you want to bring in work through your online presence, the biggest thing you can do is to get online reviews." This makes a lot of sense to me, Jeff. He went on to say, "We're working to exceed people's expectations." So I really think there's a lot of value in that one sentence, exceed their expectations, ask for the review. He talked about how he's doing this, and stay after your customers, because a lot of them will review you. They just need to be prompted a little bit, and they're happy to do it. Now, going on, we've got some manufacturer news, and this is sponsored by Ladecrete International. I was really excited in Indianapolis to attend Ladecrete's live training event there. It's Ladecrete Live. There's a link in my show notes. If you've never heard of these, check them out. They're going to, they have these throughout the nation here. And it's a very good training. Some are 1 day, some are 2 days. They've been invested in educating tile contractors for a long time. If you happen to be near a plant, one of their plants, you can get a plant show, a plant tour, and that's really, really cool. They also have something cool going on online. They've got the Ladecrete University online. I wanted to bring your attention to it. It's a free courses. They have a new series of tutorials called the 101 series. So check this out. It's made specifically for people new to the industry, apprentices and so forth. So this would be a great thing to include when you're training your employees. So for more information, check out ladecreteuniversity.com. I'll have both of those links inside the show notes. When I first met David Rothberg at the International Surfaces event in Las Vegas, I guess it was earlier this year or late last year, I introduced myself, told him about my podcast, Tile Money, and that the purpose was to educate tile installers. That's really what hit, with him. That's really what made his ears perk up, and, was the fact that I was focused on education, business education. He really liked that idea. He was behind it. He was excited and happy to hear about it. And as Ladecrete has been my sole manufacturer sponsor, and I'm really happy about that because, that's a company that invests in its people and is investing in giving back. It's a huge thing to give back to the industry. It's not all about taking, as we know, but you have to give back. So on that same line of thinking, Ron and I had our first business incubator last month in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and we're happy to let you know that we're going to be doing more of these next year. We're going to take the rest of the year and work on the outline and work on kind of the way it's going to look. It's probably going to be a 2-day class. It's really exciting stuff here. So keep looking out for that. Let us know, if you'd like to hear certain subjects, if there's something that you need to hear and you want to learn and take away from attending one of these events. I know it's going to be an investment to get there on your part, and we want to see you go away feeling like we've given you tools and actionable advice that you can implement right away into your business and benefit from. So some other Tile Money news here for the rest of the year. I'm going to be rolling out with a new segment that's going to replace the Tile Money tips. We've got a Tile Money tip coming up real quick. But after that, I'm asking you, my audience, to call in 440-299-7601. And I'll make sure that phone number is on my website, tilemoney.com, as well as in the show notes. So call us and leave a voicemail for Ron. This is a segment I'm calling Ask Uncle Ron. And so call in with your business questions, and we're going to play your message on the episode, inside the episode, and we're going to have Ron Nash answer your business questions. So I think it's a fun segment. We'll try it out for a couple months, see how it goes, and see what's up. So I'm really excited for you to be part of the episodes, any one of you. So check out that phone number again, 440-299-7601, and I'll have that in the show notes. So we've got another Tile Money tip with Ron Nash, of course, sponsored by Laticrete International. And we're wrapping up our discussion of the 5 core concerns when it comes to, negotiations, especially with emotions. So we've talked about appreciation, autonomy, affiliation, and status. And right now we're going to be talking about role power. So enjoy this Tile Money tip right now, friends.
Number 5 is role power. Role is tightly connected to status, meaning, okay, what's your role in this negotiation?
Right.
What do you do? How do you play on this team and in this tribe? So it's very important, and some tactics that I've used successfully, not even that I knew I was using it before I knew this, was, okay, when I'm in the beginning of a deal, it's always good to say, hey, what's my role here? What's your role here? Okay. And I find that if you pre-lay out, like, who's expected to do what by the end of this deal, or by the time we get to the point where we're saying yes to this deal, then you can plan in your work things that you will not have to negotiate later. So for example, you're going through a selection process for that homeowner couple that I was talking about. Wouldn't it be great if you sat down with these people in the beginning and said, hey, let me introduce you to myself. This is my role on the project. This is what I'm going to do to get to a price. Mm-hmm. And I want to know, who here should I work with when things come up? Yeah. Like, for example, schedule changes. Who needs to know about a schedule change? How can I communicate that better with you guys? Oh, it turns out that the dad travels for work and the mom's going to be home all the time, so it's important that she knows about it. Yeah. Okay, great. Or
design.
Fill in however team you'd like to make that, but it's the same thing. Who has the role power here? And it's good for 2 different reasons. Number 1, I always like to negotiate with people who can say yes.
Yeah.
I think that's important.
Yeah.
Number 2, I also like to give deference to people who have the ability to say yes as well. Hey, listen, other team members have come up with great ideas. I wanted to present it to you because in the beginning of our meeting, you said you were the one who makes these decisions.
Right.
You see how this works?
Yep.
And so that really feels good to people who are working together, because they say, hey, you know what? This guy recognizes the fact that I have a role to play here, and he wants to work with me in order to make my role easier and better.
Yeah.
Right. So this 5th status of role, or this 5th core concern of role, is very important. And I find that it's best, just to underscore that one more time, to negotiate that in the beginning of the deal. Who does what? What's the timeline? What can we expect? Those kind of things. Who has the role here? Yeah. And it could be as simple as, who's going to pick the colors?
Right.
And then if they say things like, oh, we're going to do it together, then you say, okay, back up. Great. I like that. How am I going to recognize when that decision's made?
Okay.
And the reason for those things is that you wind up having a very good conversation now that leads into other things. Who does what on the project? How long is the project going to last? How are the payments going to be made? Who's going to be cutting the checks? Who's going to, help me do the business of this project with you? And if I do this business with this project with you smoothly, then you're going to be happy with me, and the deal's going to go much better. Yeah. And not only that, check this out. if you have that conversation, you've addressed 5 core concerns in your estimates. You've addressed 5 core concerns in your negotiation. Price will be the very last thing you talk about.
Yeah.
And by the way, if you wind up negotiating on price after that, at least you're going to do it on pleasant ground. That's the big difference here.
Right.
You're gonna wind up having a client who, exactly. You're gonna have a client who feels appreciated. They feel like they've made their own decisions. They feel like you're trying to be part of their success, part of their team, part of their tribe. You've respected the fact that that they have the right to choose whatever they want, and then you've even made your whole system smooth within the rules that they have to play in their life.
Yeah.
That is a winning combination.
Yeah.
If you can do that on every single estimate, regardless of what you're negotiating for, your deals will be smoother. You'll be happier. You'll have more value. You'll be producing more, spending less.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest part. So there's 5 core concerns. And if you think about it, you break it down, it's very, very interesting. I do have a good book that I could give
mention
everyone.
The book, and we'll throw a link in the show notes here.
Sure. Okay, so once again, Dr. Shapiro, and he wrote a book. It's called Negotiating the Non-Negotiable. Negotiating the Non-Negotiable. It is a Dr. Daniel Shapiro, and he basically, the whole concept is you draw on core concerns as a framework,
Mm-hmm.
and then you leverage the power of identity and remove barriers as you're doing these negotiations.
Yeah.
And I find that it's a great way to, when you look at people and they get mad,
Yeah.
and they're acting in anger one towards another, it's interesting to take these 5 core concerns and say, is this person mad because they feel attacked because they don't feel appreciated? Or is someone trying to take away their autonomy? Or is someone messing with their tribe and feel like their affiliations not being respected, status or role? Are they messing with each of these? And by the way, this is a great way to deal with conflict management. It's a fantastic way of dealing with conflict. In fact, if we could get our politicians to start considering when they speak about affiliation specifically and autonomy to make decisions, we would all be a little happier because we would be less tribal. We would actually be more working together.
Right.
And really in negotiation, that's really what you want.
Yeah, that's what you need. Yeah.
So there you go. A little different tack, right? A little different angle.
No, I like it. It's good stuff. Lots of value there, Ron. Thank you.
Yeah. I enjoyed it was a 1-week intensive training. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
We had to do a lot of different workshop skills,
How
negotiate.
many people were in the class?
There was 100 professionals, all, would be vice presidents or above of these big mega companies, billion-dollar companies.
Wow.
And they had little exercises. Like, for example, we had 10 people. They had a fictitious disease.
Yeah.
And you only had 6 vaccines. Okay, so you had to decide, of the 10, 40% are going to die.
Wow.
So how do you negotiate with a group that to get that 40% who won't live? You have to be able to figure out how to negotiate. And there were different backgrounds. There were different socioeconomic statuses. There were different, it was basically they took all these 5 core concerns, jumbled them up with each particular person. And then all of these teams had to get together and negotiate, okay, well, we've elected that these 4 people die and these 6 people live. It's pretty crazy. It was pretty crazy. And people, oh my gosh, and people got so emotional about it. It was, even though it was completely an exercise, but people got emotional about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so dealing with complicated things, dealing with emotions in work, it's very important.
Yeah.
And by the way, not often is it taught to people either. They just expect people to be able to go through work and learn it.
All right, that was another great Tile Money tip. Thank you, Ron. Thank you, Latercrete, for sponsoring these tips in this episode and this podcast. As you heard Ron talk about at the end of that tip, I let it go long. The vast majority of us, pretty much nobody is taught this stuff before we go into the workplace and before we open a business. It's up to us to find this. So that's why I'm so excited. That's why Ron is doing this, is to help all of us learn and implement this knowledge, because how often have all of us been guilty of letting our emotions, I know I've been too emotional at times, and it's gotten the better of me. It's affected my life, my business. So when we let our emotions start making business decisions, that's not a good thing. But unfortunately, for a lot of people, it's a reality. So if you find yourself struggling with this, look forward. I'm going to release all 5 of these core concerns here in the next few days. I'm going to release them so that you can easily find them. Go back and listen to them from time to time. So that's what I have to say about that. So look, the link for Dr. Shapiro's book will be in the show notes here with this episode. So if you're interested in reading that, then Negotiating the Non-Negotiable, really good book there. So thank you, Ron, for heads up on that. I want to thank my most recent iTunes reviewer. Thank you, Final Touch Tile and Stone. Thank you, Manny. Go follow Manny at Final Touch Tile and Stone on Instagram. Really good guy, putting out some great work. Thanks for the 5-star review and the comments, the friendly comments on iTunes. I really appreciate it. So today's final call to action, go ahead and message Ron Nash. Let him know how much you've been appreciating his Tile Money tips. This episode, of course, this podcast is brought to you by the National Tile Contractors Association. So thank you, NTCA, for everything you do for us tile contractors. We really appreciate it. All right, tile friends, stay profitable out there. Talk to you soon.